At the end of 2024, I started replaying the Silent Hill franchise. I can say that for the most part, the games have aged well. I've had very few bad things to say about these games. Maybe a thing or two for the original, 2 or 3 for the sequel, but the third game in the franchise has been a bit more difficult to appreciate. To talk about the other games, it's easier to do it so through the last one of the trilogy. And yes, I know Silent Hill 4 is a thing, but it's a different beast altogether. Silent Hill 3 came to be when Silent Hill 2 did not sell well. Despite its cult status, the sequel was not as popular as that of the rival franchise, Resident Evil 2. It's really a cult game through and through. Because of that, Konami moved ahead and planned a spin-off arcade game, one different from the one that actually came out. Masahiro Ito objected, and later on the project was scrapped. If you don't remember him, he's the monster designer. Despite the cancellation, money and time was already used, and when transitioning to the development of 3, they did not receive more, especially because of the reception of 2. Now we start with problem number 1. A lot of themes in Silent Hill find their way into gameplay. That includes the level and enemy design. Alessa had an awful time at school, so it makes sense that it would be a level, and so was the hospital where she lay in bed for such a long time. In 2, James has issues regarding intimacy, and you pass through a strip club. You also pass through the places that relate to other characters. In 3, you pass through a mall because you're shopping and you're a teenage girl, then a subway to get home. Afterwards, you go through sewers, a construction site, and an office building before finally ending up home. That portion, comprised mostly of dull gray areas, is 60% of the game more or less. You only spend about a third of your time in Silent Hill. Why does the office building matter thematically? Every level past the subway, give or take, feels like filler, and you're just thinking, when do I get home? When you do get to Silent Hill, you make your way to the hospital, but not Alchemia Hospital. You see, Alessa was tragically burned in the explosion of a boiler and spent much of her time in a bed in the basement of that hospital. You would think that if you would go back there as her reincarnation, you would be in the place where you spent the last days of your life, but no. It's clear that the Silent Hill 2 portion of the map was reused because of time and budget constraints, making for a less compelling ride overall, and also riding off the popularity of said title. On with problem number 2. While the puzzles could be hard in the previous iterations, they were somewhat solvable and well presented. The piano puzzle is a highlight of difficulty, but it can be overcome, and even if you don't, there's maybe only one instance of something else similar. Not in 3, which has that issue of giving you the ability to see things out of sequence. It happens in these games, but things are usually built in such a way that you understand that you're missing a piece. 3 will outright not present to you the puzzle or change elements if you have not seen every clue. The door to the control panel was locked, for example, and only opens up when you get the chain and red shoe. This would not be a problem if not for the fact that the game loves to have rooms with nothing or just enemies. I just tend to look around less in 3 than the other games, always spending more time than I need to, only to backtrack and have something change without warning. I don't know if something is actually part of a puzzle or it's just some fancy set piece. Don't even get me started on the hard puzzles, which require a master's degree to complete. It is the most inane bullshit I have ever seen. Not only are the clues really long, but whether on normal or hard, a lot of the sentences in the puzzles are actually just there to throw you off, so you spend a lot of time cogitating, only to realize that that part of the sentence was just a red herring and you were wasting your time all along. There's an entire sequence that starts with a hint that is as long as a thesis about how a psychopath is going to mutilate Heather, and somehow you're supposed to guess that the acts of mutilation are supposed to emulate the human face on a keypad. Finally, but not the least, the enemy design also fucking sucks. Going back to Silent Hill 1, the school had a type of monster called the Grey Child, the representation of Alessa getting bullied by other kids. 2 has a lot of female monsters. The way they're built in 3 is fine, most of them just look like penises. It's just sad that the environments don't match the monsters. What really sucks though, is that most monsters have gigantic hitboxes and can knock you down for a really long time, so long that you'll wonder if you're actually dead. The other groups in 1 were kept outside where you had space to move. In 2, monsters were easy, there's an in-game reason for it. In 3, the game simulates what it's like being a white girl in the wrong neighborhood. It goes beyond any themes and just becomes annoying. I will now introduce to you our friend, the Slurper.
And wait for them to start munching. Come on, get that beef jerky, no!
Silent Hill 3 is a decent experience. The graphics, especially on PC, still stand to this day. It looks amazing, whether it is the shadows, the textures, and especially the character models and their animation. Quite more specifically, the facial animations. There are games today that are equal, if not worse, the facial animations in Silent Hill 3. It's the perfect mixture of being artistic but somewhat reminiscent of reality without falling into the uncanny valley. The only thing that would maybe need overall is the resolution of the textures, maybe more complexity in the shadows, and especially the animations of the hands, which are pretty decent, but you can tell that that era of gaming still had a little bit of problem with finger animations. And of course, the music is always on point, with Akira Yamaoka as the composer and having that Portishead inspiration. And now there's a lot more female vocals, which really gives a slightly different vibe to the overall experience. It's really ethereal like usual, but now you really get into the mood of being a tired teenage girl who has to overcome a lot of drama and abuse because of a cult. You really have this impression of going through fever-inducing pain and agony. The real problem though is that most of what makes this game really good lives mostly in concept and not execution. It is marred with issues that mostly crop up due to a shorter development time and lack of resource. And by the time the experience ended, I was happy, but not necessarily for the right reasons. I was just glad I was done with this and it was off my plate. It's easy to find the PC version and how to fix it. You need only to spend time on PC Gaming Wiki. It's worth your time, but it's definitely in the middle in terms of horror game ranking.